Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Welcome to our inaugural Pango. With us is Mr. and Mrs. William Seward, who are about to be the first customers of Pango in Auburn, New York. Mr. Seward is going to step forward. He's going to use his cell phone to pay for the parking for his team of horses in his wagon. So, Mr. Seward.
Don't quite know how you do this, but I understand I won't be charged double for 2 horses. So what do we have to do?
The only thing you have to do is to press easy as. We're in Auburn, and we're on street. And we're just going to press start parking.
All right, then press it. Pay for our parking. It's easier when you tie the thing up.
We've started.
All right, there you go. Move them quickly.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Auburn. Welcome to downtown Auburn. This is great for the city of Auburn. I was out of town this morning at a meeting, and I was telling the folks there about what we were doing tonight. They thought it was wonderful. They want to know where they could get the horses and the wagon so they can start in their own city, and we'll let Neil know about what it's all about. At this time, I'd like to introduce a friend of the city of Auburn, Senator DeFrancisco.
Thank you very much. I've been in the Senate for 21 years, and I've represented Auburn for 4 months. And I've already in this 4 months see how progressive this community is, the wonderful things that are happening here, the development is just absolutely amazing. But at this moment, I'm on page 400 of the Team of Rivals, which talked about the 4 individuals who were in the presidential race to get the nomination for the Republican Party, and 2 of them were Abraham Lincoln and William Seward. Never in my wildest dreams did I know by representing this district I would meet William Seward today. And this is the most important day of my life. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to call on a gentleman who really needs little or no introduction here in the city of Auburn, our Assemblyman Gary Finch.
Thank you, Mayor. Senator, as you said, Auburn is a great place to visit, as you have done today. It's a great place to represent. It's a beautiful city. It's progressive. It's historic. We've coined the phrase, history's hometown, Auburn. And one reason that we have coined that phrase is because William Seward, he decided to move to Auburn, marry Judge Miller's daughter, very wise move, become a great New York State governor, a great U.S. senator. Actually, he served in the New York State Senate as well. And then became Secretary of State under Abraham Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents. So Auburn represents a great heritage. The Republican Party was founded here by Seward and Lincoln. So it's great, great historic city. We're proud to be here, very proud to be part of the greater or larger Seward family, with a great mayor, by the way, Mr. Quill, Michael Quill. He's led this city through the last 4 years and an additional 4 years. And he's got a great sense of humor. So I'm going to leave the remarks for you now, Mayor. You're the MC. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Finch. At this time, I'd like to introduce the president of Pango, Mr. Neil Edwards, who came all the way from South Carolina. He asked me tonight, what do you do in the winter time? What type of winter sports do you have? I said, well, we have TV, we have computers, so I think he wants to come back and spend the winter with us, so Neil.
Thanks a lot, Mayor Quill. I just want to tell everyone we're very excited to be partnered with the City of Auburn. I'm very touched personally just because of the amount of enthusiasm, and I think it's a real testament to how great America is when you really see, a community that comes out, around a topic like parking, something that's so basic as a daily habit, but it really is important to our daily lives because, one, it's how we, it's something we do every day, and it's connected to business and just it's so important for commerce. And with Pango coming to Auburn, as the tagline for Auburn is, it's history's hometown. This is a real first, especially in New York State, for a town who has had a history of leading through innovation and through just new ideas and really smart people. This is a system that's going to be very convenient for the citizens. It's going to be really good for the city, and I'm just very touched by how enthusiastic everyone is. And I think just to thank a few people, we're very excited that Doug, the city manager, Doug Selby, he had the forethought to look at us and other folks, Mayor Michael Quill, also, and people like Bill Graney and Connie Riley, and just so many great people who have come together to make this a reality. Mike Talbot, Bob Gauthier, and so we're really excited about partnering with Auburn, not just because of Pango, but because it's actually a fun project for us. So thank you very much, and we're really excited to be partnering.
As Neil had mentioned, our city manager, Doug Selby, he was the one really responsible for working with Pango, bring him to the city of Auburn. Folks younger than myself are really into this. They have the apps, they have the cell phones, they're very interested. Folks my age, or a little bit older, we still have the parking meters, we still have the kiosks. So you're going to be covered any way you want to do it. But I would like to ask Doug Selby, our city manager, to say a few words because it was his idea.
Thank you, Mayor. And if it doesn't work out, I guess I'm the one to blame. So, it was 78 years ago that the first parking meter was installed anywhere in the world, and that was in Oklahoma City, in downtown, because the traffic congestion with the automobiles was so great that they weren't getting turnover in parking spaces. And right away, there was controversy. It was labeled as un-American to charge for parking, but retailers praised it because it created the kind of turnover they wanted. Well, controlled parking, I guess, is with us, to stay, and that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be inconvenient. So when we were looking around for ways to, in recognition of the difficulty sometimes it is to park in downtown Auburn, primarily because we don't take credit cards, we have a strictly coin system, and sometimes it's hard to get to the meters if it's winter. We were exploring other ways to do this and came upon this new technology that allows you to use a cell phone or smartphone to simply start a parking session and pay for it with a credit card through an account that you establish, much like an Easy Pass for the throughway system. So, today's launch, as Neil said, follows the course of innovation and creativity that have come from Auburn and change social issues throughout the country and the world, have brought commerce throughout the world, new inventions, and great leaders from Auburn. So adopting this new innovation in parking technology, I see as kind of just another step in Auburn's progression to be a leading city. We call it a smart city initiative because we use technology to make our lives more convenient. And we, as was mentioned, we have no plans to stop using the meters or the kiosks. They'll be here for the people that want to use them. But maybe 15 or 20 years from now, that technology will be considered antiquated like the pay telephone is today, and will be strictly on these kind of systems and maybe even enhancements to that. So you might wonder too, how do we know if you're parked with Pango or you just haven't put money in the meter? Our parking enforcement people have handheld devices that connect with the Pango database. So when you start a parking session, you're logged into the database, and our parking enforcement people recognize that. So if you're parked at a meter and you haven't put coins in, but you're on the Pango system, they'll know that, and you won't get a ticket. If you're parked at a meter and you think that you can fool them into thinking you're on Pango, they'll know that too, and you'll probably get a ticket. So we'll ask you to give it a try. I think it's a great system, and we really encourage everybody to try it. And Neil's already mentioned the number of people who were instrumental working, quietly in the background to bring this all together. Our city staff, Connie Riley and her staff, and I want to thank the city council too for taking this on and allowing this to happen and come forward. It's kind of progressive and a little bit of cutting edge, and sometimes that's risky, but our city council is willing to take a chance and move forward with this. So we'd encourage everybody to Pango in Auburn.
Neil, I'm going to ask you a question, and maybe you can answer in front of it, put you right on the spot. When you pull away from a parking spot and you have time left, can you cancel that and save money?
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that, please? Because as the senator said, that's very important to people.
Yeah, it's a really good question that you asked, Mayor Quill. So the question is, if I have started parking, and on the Pango app, if you try it, you'll see that you literally have a meter going. It has 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And the question is, if I pull away from my parking space and then I decide and I forgot to turn off my meter, what happens, basically? One of two things happens. Number one, you press stop parking immediately and you're not charged. So you're only charged for the time that you from the time that you say start to stop parking. Or if you did leave your meter running, it will automatically shut itself off at basically whatever the town regulations are. So that's really simple.
Thank you. As mayor and talking with the council members, all the council members, the biggest complaint or continuous complaint we receive is about parking in downtown. They're not lenient. They didn't come bang on the door and tell me I'm about to get a ticket. They don't have time for that. Hopefully with this, it'll make it a little bit easier for everyone. If you're in a doctor's appointment or you're late, your lunch is running late, you can get on your cell phone or your iPad or whatever and boost up some time on your meter, so that'll save some problems. Talking with the council members, I've said more than once, and I've said this in the open, it's bad enough fielding all these concerns, problems about parking. Mr. Finch asked me for one of my stories, so I'm going to leave with this and then we're going to leave. Many years ago, some of you may remember or may know, the fire apparatus were pulled by horses. All right, have you ever heard that, heard stories of that? So then, after the horses left, someone would always say, they took away the horses, but they left the horses behind. So here I am, facing the two horses behind in my job as mayor. So, once again, thank you everyone for being here. Try Pango, give it a whirl. There's different ladies and gentlemen with Pango shirts on. They're ambassadors. Work with them to set up your iPhone, your other phone, your Android, whatever the case may be. They're more than willing to help you and glad to do it. So, thank you once again. Mr. Seward, Mrs. Seward, we hope you have a safe trip home.
Am I going to get charged for double parking the horses?
We have a tow truck coming. Thank you, everyone.